ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਾਪ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਦਾਸ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਔਨ Guru Nanak Dev Ji and women ਇਸ ਉੱਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ। So I'm going to do my best to try and talk about this subject to the best of my knowledge, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਆ। It's not like only yesterday I started working on it and just got a few slides together or anything like that. So if that's the impression you get, then that's a wrong impression. It's quite detailed work. It took me months to put this together. That was it. That was the yeah. It was just that one slide. So it was a good slide. Come on, come back up. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. So it's a bit temperamental. What I'll do if I move. Okay, G. Oh, okay. It's back up again, ladies. So like I was saying, it took me some while to put this slide together. All these different images are from Google and they were hand-picked by me for this slide. So you can have a look at that. But yeah, so I was saying there's a lot of detailed work that has gone into this. So some of you might find that the information I'm going to provide is going to blow your mind, so just be prepared for it. Before I start, just some of you who obviously been looking at me wondering who the hell is this guy and why did they let him in. So just to tell you a little bit about me, my name is Sukhwinder Singh, as you know, and I have come from the UK. This is the United Kingdom. Anybody been to the UK? All right, there's a few people. You must come to the UK. And Handy, that's good. Hands down, that's it. Good. You must come to the UK and visit the UK. And whenever you do come, please let me know so I can think of an excuse so that you don't come to my house. No, you're more than welcome. Everybody's welcome. UK, as you know, is famous for the royal family, yes, and then they're famous for killing Diana. No, it was a terrible accident. It's recently famous for Brexit. Brexit. Anybody heard of Brexit? Okay, there's few people. Basically, what started to happen was a lot of people, foreigners, started coming into the UK, and started taking our jobs. I mean, I've never had a job, but it was like if I wanted to work, I couldn't because these foreigners took the job that I could have had. So that's why I voted for Brexit, because there's too many people from other countries just coming into and just living off our benefit system. So anyway, so Brexit, and yeah, that's UK pretty much it really, to be honest. And we are to have a new Prime Minister soon, Boris Johnson maybe. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's basically, you could say he's like Donald Trump's version of the Masi da Munda. Trump the Masi da Munda. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. That's it. It's that's a great slide, isn't it? That's another great slide. I think it's the Indian government that's kind of trying to sabotage. Doesn't want the information to get through. Hang on, I have an idea. Okay, there we go. All right, that's better. Okay, so basically what it is this adapter I've got from eBay is very cheap. It's like very cheap, so it kind of is a bit temperamental, so I apologize for that. Yeah, and in case you're wondering when is he going to start the talk, it'll be in a very short while, it'll be in the very near future, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone's good, yeah? All right. Anybody like to I don't know, share any concerns so far? Everyone good? Hanji? Poop. Okay. Right. Okay. That's the usual review after my talk, but I've never had it in the beginning. Even before I started. Anyway, thank you very much for having me. So let's begin. Okay, so I was thinking maybe to perhaps first of all put down how women were treated in the world by different religions, how they used to live. Then I thought that's going to be too complicated, too many slides, too much research, didn't have enough time. But the thing is, I don't really need to say anything. You guys already know most of it, so I don't have to put down how the religions view women and the sort of rights that they have. But obviously I'm going to talk about women's rights in Sikhi, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who is a champion of women's rights, and how Guru Sahib Ji elevated women's status. And we talk about equality. However, I don't think it's a question of equality really. It's because we live in a world where in certain aspects everybody has to kind of rise up, whether if you're a woman or a man, to be that man and to be that woman, and to rise up to your role as laid down by, Vaheguru. And Guru Sahib Ji reminds us, and for centuries, women's role in society, and hence due to their role in society, a little kind of contribution they were sort of allowed to make, would have a profound effect on their psyche, obviously, because if you're a suppressed people for so long and you've been told a certain thing and be told to live in a certain way, then it's going to take something radical to kind of shake things up and bring things back how they should be. And there's nobody more radical than Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj when he came to shaking up society and the norms and the beliefs. So we'll talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji and women. It's very important that the world sort of hears that, and what Sikhis, hence the view of Sikhis on women, how Guru Sahib Ji what the exchange is like with women, and how our history has treated women. So the first thing obviously that came to my mind was, obviously we hear when we talk about the status of women in Sikhi, and we talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj uplifting that status to what it was. The first shabad that comes to mind is that from Asaji Diwar that we all sing in the morning. Apologies, I was supposed to do my bit in Asaji Diwar this morning, but I had a calling. My bed was calling, I could hear it, and it was like it was doing tarle, it's like aja, just so I had to go to sleep. So my apologies for that. But that slok, it actually came about when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj was sitting, and he's giving upadesh. And just like how Sangat comes and sits with Maharaj Guru Sahib Ji, Sangat is sitting there, and in this Sangat where they're talking about the divine and they're talking about Dharm, who's present there? There's the families there. So the whole structure is very much family orientated. That Guru Sahib Ji is included, every single member of the family. When it comes to building that relationship with Vaheguru, and when it comes to spirituality and your right to that spirituality, your right to devotion, then that right is the same for everybody. It's not just reserved for one sex. It's reserved for everyone. It's not limited to age. So there's children there, there's women there, and there's men there, and this Vaishnu comes. Now Vaishnu is a mat, like a discipline, where the main thing is they are Vaishnu. They don't consume meat, and they have obviously other disciplines that they carry. But so to them this concept was quite alien, and to them it was quite insulting. So for centuries women knew their place, and it wasn't in congregation, it wasn't in Sadh Sangat, they had their place. But now there's this person whose name's Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he's come and he's like changing things about, and these people don't obviously like it. They're like, what is he doing? He's just destroying our tradition, our Maryada, how things are meant to be. And that Vaishnu is getting a bit agitated, and he's kind of just bringing up the courage to actually say something, and he's kind of boiling inside looking at these women sitting there. So that tells a lot how women were kind of like seen. And then he eventually just gets up and he says to Guru Nanak Dev Ji that I've heard that you're here to preach the message of Vaheguru, and you know, you sat there, but I understand, but what are these women doing here? They shouldn't be here, right? They don't have the right to be here. You are kind of, you know, changing things, and you're changing the order of things, and that is not how it's meant to be, and God's not happy with that, right? God's not happy with that. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj invites that Vaishnu to come and sit down, and Maharaj says, then listen to this Upadesh. If this is the view you have, then this is my view. And at that point, that slok that we read in Sri Asaj Divar, that comes from. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji ne fir eh upadesh dita saad sangat ji, and this was the slok jehड़ा ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਤੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਿਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੜੀ ਵਾਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ, ਸੋ ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੋਰ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਈਏ ਸੀ। ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ, ਭੰਡ ਜੰਮੀਆਂ ਭੰਡ ਨਿੰਮੀਆਂ, ਭੰਡ ਮੰਗਣ ਵੀ ਆਹੋ, ਭੰਡੋ ਹੋਵੇ ਦੋਸਤੀ, ਭੰਡੋ ਚੱਲੇ ਰਾਹ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਬਈ ਭੰਡ ਜੰਮੀਆਂ ਭੰਡ ਨਿੰਮੀਆਂ। So from a woman a man is born, within woman man is conceived. So he's saying sab to pehla to the Vaishnu that your very existence is because of a woman, right? Because she's given birth to you and you were conceived, okay, and you stayed inside of her. The woman is engaged and married. So and then ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇਰਾ ਮੰਗਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ, you get engaged to a woman, then you get married to her. A woman becomes his friend. Through woman the future generations come. So, you know, trying to find companionship, friendship, and all of those things that you look towards a woman. Pand moa pand paliye pand hove bandhan. So when his woman dies, he seeks another woman. To woman he is bound. So ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਘਰ ਦੀ, you know, she's died, and obviously you're looking for another one, right? Obviously the first one was a happy marriage, so you're looking for another one. So Maharaj saying that ਜਦੋਂ your companion, your friend has passed on, you look for another. So you constantly are seeking for a woman. And then Maharaj says, so kyo manda akhiye jit jamhe rajan. And then this quote that we often hear, that so how can, it shouldn't be why, it should be how can then you call her bad, from her kings are born, right? And pando hi pand upje pande bajna koi. From a woman is born. Without woman there would be no one at all. So Guru Sahib Ji is trying to, so these are like basic things, to be honest, if you think about it. Now these are basic things now the person should have known, but the thing is there is this you know, cloud of ignorance that had, you know, sort of impaired, you know, people's rational thinking. Because what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was actually saying, it's just like these simple facts of life that people have sort of, you know, ignored for so long, and they have built up this kind of, you know, their own world that, you know, they have their own kind of rules in it, whereas they've kind of like have, you know, failed to look at these basic things. These are basic things. Maharaj is saying, Pande Bahara Eko Sacha. So, O Nanak, only the true Lord is without a woman. Right? Now that sometimes when I read that, it makes me chuckle, makes me laugh, because the reason, obviously, Maharaj talks about that, you know, women everywhere, and, you know, without women there's none at all. And then you're like, Maharaj, but is there a woman? Maharaj said, no, I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm without a woman. So, but obviously that's Vaheguru. Vaheguru nu kisi ne janam nahi ditta, so Vaheguru doesn't need a wife. Vaheguru is without a woman. Jit mukh sada salahiye bhaga rati char. That mouth which praises the Lord continually is blessed and beautiful. Nanak te mukh ujle tit sache darbar. Nanak, those faces shall be radiant in the court of the true Lord. So ithe Maharaj kya jit mukh sada salahiye. but jede mukh de naal, so that mukh could be of a woman or a man. So Maharaj's upadesh at the end to the Vaishnav was that, look at all of them, you calling out all these things, and you can't even stand to be here in the company of these women. But you've come from a woman. A man gets engaged to and gets married to a woman, and then when your woman passes away, you look for another woman. Your whole life is kind of encircling around a woman, and then you have the audacity to then call her all those things and bad. But then Maharaj gives his upadesh right at the end that it's not about a woman, it's not about a man, it's not about any of that. ਇਹ ਮਾਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਮੁਖ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੁਖ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਆਰਾਧਨਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ, the person who remembers ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ is the one that will find their place. Nanak te mukh ujle tit sache darbar. And then they were the ones who are going to be going to that sacha darbar, that true darbar. So Maharaj ne sab to pehla anu Vaishnav nu upadesh ditta. So I wanted to just start with that, obviously, because it's what we associate with when we talk about women, how women are perceived in Sikh dharma. Okay. So we've established that it's not about the sareer, okay? It's about what we do with the sareer, whether it's a man or a woman, okay? Jehda Rab nu yaad karda, Rab kol pahunch janda. So then Guru Sahib Ji talks about sab to, it's like, even now the tradition is when you talk about someone, when you're talking about their background, we always say, what's your father's name, and your kind of like, family name from your father's side. So again, giving that emphasis to just that one, to the male, where it's like, right? But so often, even sometimes when we hear an ardas, when there's like Anand Karaj or anything like that, we sometimes just hear the father's name and the grandfather's name. We don't actually hear the mother's name. So here Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj reminds us. So Maharaj is saying that Tan Tan Pita, Tan Tan Kul, and then not forgetting Tan Tan So Janani Jin Guru Janaya Mai. So Guru Sahib Ji puts the most important right at the end. Tan Tan So Janani Jin Guru Janaya Mai. If you think about it, how great is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj? How great are the Gurus? Yeah, how great are they? And when you think about that, then you got to think about, if they are like Paramatmas, they're great, then what about that mother who gave birth to them? How great must they be, right? And Guru Sahib has reminded us of that fact. Bhai, theek ya, Guru Sahib ne, he listed Tan Tan Pita, or Pita vi Tan ya. That Kul is Tan as well, yeah? Is blessed, that lineage as well. Blessed is the father. But just think about that. How blessed, Tan So Janani Jin Guru Janaya Mai, Jine Guru nu Janam Ditta keh lo. Obviously, Maharaj is Guru Sahib Ji jehde na janam chaਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਮਰਨ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ. So they are kind of beyond the June, and they don't come into birth or death. But Guru Sahib Ji is actually explaining the role of a woman, and her role is in this world, that she's bringing the person who's going to liberate the whole world, the person who's going to liberate the Khand Brahmanda, everything. And the way that person, that power, that Shakti comes into the world is through a woman. So that is something to kind of like sit and think about, the greatness of women. So Vaheguru Ji has chosen that's like the biggest role. Maharaj is saying that Akal Purkh is a Purkh Saroop. Purkh meaning man, a mard, like Purkh, right? is that I'm going to go into the world, and who's going to represent me? Akal Purkh is going to be represented by Guru, Purkh de roop de vich, right? So this is another question sometimes we get asked. They're like, well, if Guru Sahib Ji was so kind of so much about women's rights and equal rights, like I said in the beginning, it's not about like trying to introduce an equal opportunity kind of thing. Then you just kind of always be in that kind of, what Maharaj's concept is, way beyond that. So they say that, well, then how come one of the gurus or some of the gurus weren't women then? There could have been, right? Which is true. If you think about, if you're trying to argue the point where, well, in those days it would have been difficult for a woman to go out and spread the word like a man could. However, the thing is, the first thing is, that very job of spreading the word was given to women by Tije Padshah, Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. So that could be argued then, well, that is not the case. That women were going out and doing prachar. So if women could go out and do prachar, why couldn't they be gurus? Then you are with that answer, with that question. But Guru Sahib is explaining right here. And as I said in the beginning, it's about what Waheguru Ji has given to a man and a woman. End of the day, we're going to talk about in reality who we really are, right? You may have this Sreed of a man, and people have Sreed of a woman, but really in reality your identity, what it is. But Guru Sahib Ji here then explains, so this is what Maharaj is saying, yes, but if you think about the role of chosen by Waheguru Ji, now Waheguru Ji is saying, I'm going to go onto this earth and going to liberate people, right? And I'm going to go as Guru Parmeshwar, roop of a Guru, okay? If Akal Purkh is the Purkh, so the roop he's going to have on this earth is of a Purkh. Then you have the Das Guru Sahib in Purkh form. But then Maharaj says, now to carry out this great work, to carry out this task of getting everybody, Jinni naam te aaya gaye masakkat kaal, Nanak te mukh ujle keti chutti naal. So getting everybody on this ship of the jada naam da jahaj ya, how I'm going to do that? How I'm going to carry out that task, right? How am I going to actually enter this world? So who's going to have the highest seva of doing that? And then Maharaj gave that seva to a woman. Now, Guru Sahib Ji, if Maharaj wanted, he could have appeared, right? Maharaj kar sakde, sara kuch kar sakde sige. But Maharaj gave that important role to a woman. Now, if you then think about, two go hand in hand. Although the Guru Sahib was in male form, but who gave birth to Guru Sahib Ji? A woman did. So how are you going to argue the greatness? Who is greater? Obviously, Paramatma is above all, yeah? But when we talk about a role, where someone is given a role, now, ek te Purkh roop de vich, in a form of a Purkh, a man, you're spreading the word. But at the same time, how has that become possible? Because you have been given that birth from a woman. So tan so janani marane utan likhya vich bhi jin guru janaya mai. That how great is that woman who is given birth to the Guru. So there is no question remain. Sometimes what we have to do is, when we look at sometimes, is how Gurbani gives us equality. How Gurbani gives us equality. It's not about, these days it's all about, oh, we want to get paid the same, right? We do the same work, we want to get paid the same, want to get the same opportunities and all of that. Yeah, that's fine, right? And so it should be. However, when we talk about something that is above all of these worldly materialistic things, then we have to kind of look at something extra. Then we have to come out this mode that we're in of what we're trying to do is we're trying to use the rules and regulations of the world to try to measure spirituality and trying to measure some of the concepts like equality and all that sort of thing. So, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj just answer that question straight away, that just in case you Baki the Gurus have, why aren't they women, right? But Maharaj says that there's greatness in that woman who's given birth to that Guru, so there is no question there. You can think about that concept yourself and you'll come to the conclusion that there is no discrimination there. There is no discrimination there. Because Maharaj ne us janani nu dhan कहता भी जिन्हें गुरु ਨੂੰ जन्म ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਨਮ ਮਰਨ ਚ ਨਹੀਂ, ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਬਈ ਉਹ ਧੰਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਜਨਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਉਸ ਔਰਤ ਨੂੰ। So and obviously Mata Tripata Ji. Now Mata Tripata Ji life before becoming Mata Tripata Ji, in that life obviously done a lot of bhakti. See, a lot of bhakti that is involved. Now that's what is like a key thing missing, unfortunately, from our panth at the moment, which is that aspect of bhakti, both by men and women. And bhakti is what produces results. We sometimes kind of think that our panth's going through so much, and why that so many things are happening and we're not able to do anything about it, and we are doing something but nothing actually kind of solid takes place. We're getting sort of battered from all sorts of places. But the thing is, we lack that bhakti, and we're going to talk about that bhakti that a woman should have. Because if you're going to bring a child to this world, you can imagine how much bhakti you have to have for you to be able to then be called the mother of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. It's not a task that is chosen at random, and Maharaj is going, okay, I'll just pick, bhakti which piche kaam kardi. So what it also shows, that role which is so great of a woman, that is bringing the Guru into this world, and it just doesn't happen at random. She has to have a lot of bhakti. So what that shows is that bhakti in a woman's life as well. Bhakti has to be in a woman's life. A woman cannot be just separated and said that it's not your job to do bhakti, to do aradhana, to do simran, to remember God. This is not your job. It had to be a woman's job as well for her to bring such a soul into this world. So that's another question that we can answer. So Mata Tripata Ji, obviously, her role as a mother, how she brings up Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's child. Obviously, there's very little kind of known about Mata Tripata Ji, but sometimes I just imagine. It's like how sometimes you're concerned as a parent that if you have a child like Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, which is like a child like no one else, and as a parent you'd have concerns that if you don't understand. So, but Mataji has that bhakti that sort of keeps her doing what she does. So Guru Sahib Ji talks and gives that tan tan so janani jin guru janaya mai. Okay, so and then the next thing, a woman to first receive the gift of Sikhi. Who first receives Sikhi? Maharaj is like, so Akal Purkh is like, I'm going to go and give this gift of liberation, a Sikhi, to the world. And who does he start with? He starts with Bibi Nanak. He starts with a woman. He doesn't choose, there's men around, right? Anybody can name other men around that could have had that given to them? Mata Kalu Ji, Bahor, जिन्हों ने गुरु नानक देव जी ने पछाणिया, हाँ जी, राय बुलार जी हो गए, है ना, भाई मरदाना जी हो गए, बाबा बुड्ढा जी हो गए। तो महाराज बाबा बुड्ढे की सेवा कितनी सी है ना, बाबा बुड्ढा जी महाराज न्यू हाउ मच सेवा ही इज़ गोइंग टू डू, तो महाराज पहला सिक्खी उन्होंने दे देंगे है ना, तो दे भी सकते सीगे। But the reason why Maharaj gave that gift to a woman first is to lay those very foundation that Sikhi is going to include women. It's not going to seclude and they're not going to be just, you know, pushed away. Sikhi is going to include. And how are we going to include? We're going to include them first. We're going to, Maharaj chose Bebe Nanaki ji to become a Sikh first. ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਬੇਬੇ ਨਾਨਕੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ। ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਇਸ ਇਨਕਲੂਸਿਵ ਟੂ ਵੂਮਨ। ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਬੇਬੇ ਨਾਨਕੀ ਜੀ as well, touching Guru Nanak Dev Ji's feet. Now there is an instance where Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj goes to Bibi Nanak Ji's house, and Bibi Nanak Ji comes and she touches Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's feet, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji stops and he says that ਭੈਣੇ ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੱਡੀ ਆ, you're older than me, ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਛੋਟਾ ਭਰਾ ਆ, I'm your younger brother, you shouldn't be touching my feet, right? I should be touching yours. And then Bibi Nanaki Ji says that, she says ਗੱਲ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਹੀ ਆ, ਸੱਚ ਹੈ, ਮਗਰ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਰੀਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ if we talk about our ਸਰੀਰ, talk about this body and this role of you and me as Bibi Nanaki and you as Guru Nanak Dev Ji, then yes, but I know who you are, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕੌਣ ਆ ਤੂੰ, ਤੂੰ not just my brother, ਤੂੰ ਤੇ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਤੇ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ, ਤੂੰ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਆ, that you are ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ on earth, and that's why I'm touching your feet, ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਪੈਰੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਆ। So also, not only Bibi Nanaki Ji becomes the first Sikh, but Bibi Nanaki Ji is also the first to recognize Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj as Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And that doesn't come just, you know, at random either, because Pita Kalu Ji is there, doesn't. And then the contribution to Prachar of Sikhi. Now, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, when he set off on his Udasiyan, ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਤੇ Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj ਤੁਰੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ we've learnt about ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਬਾਬ ਸੀਗੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਰੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਰਬਾਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਹੁਣ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਚਨ ਵੀ ਸੁਣੇ, we hear the bachan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj as he would say to ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ ਰਬਾਬ ਵਜਾ ਬਾਣੀ ਆਈ ਆ। So first Maharaj turned to the ਰਬਾਬ, ਵੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਛੇੜ ਰਬਾਬ ਨੂੰ, ਤੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਆਈ ਆ, ਸਹੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰੀਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ। So it's just like, you know, when you invite somebody to your house, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਸਫਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। When you make sure that when the important person is going to come to the house, that the house is prepared to accommodate that, you know, that person. ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਇਆ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਾਗ ਰਤਨ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਪਰੀਆ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗਾਵਣੇ ਆਈਆਂ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਰਾਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, they would stand in ਸਤਿਕਾਰ of ਬਾਣੀ, ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਦਿਓ ਸਾਨੂੰ, and then those rags would then play on that rabab. So again, just like how it's like a medium, yeah, how is this shabad introduced to this world? Is through a medium, and is that medium of a sound and that medium of this rabab. And Maharaj, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, so phenomenal, he's thinking this rabab, the shabads that are going to come out, they're going to resonate in this world forever to come. And these words, that when they come out, they are not only going to resonate, and they're going to liberate people till the time when it comes for everything to to just go elope. Now, so it's not just a simple thing, it became a big thing. So how are we going to introduce Bani to this world? We're going to do it through the Rabab. And then Maharaj says, ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਰਬਾਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਔਰਤ ਦਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. And then in this prachar, a woman should be made to contribute to that prachar as well. So what does Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj do? Maharaj actually asks Bebe Nanaki Ji to pay for that rabab. ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਰਬਾਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਰਬਾਬ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਉਚਾਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋ when the ਸ਼ਬਦ comes out of this rabab, that's going to liberate the whole creation. Then Bebe Nanaki Ji, I want you to be the one who contributes towards that rabab. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਦਿਓ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ. ਫਿਰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਸ ਪੈਸਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਬਾਬ ਸੀਗੀ. So obviously as we learned that that you know the price of that rabab was way beyond, but it's what the concept of what Maharaj introduced, that even when Maharaj, before he starts the prachar, the woman's there, right? Woman's there with her contribution. So rabab ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨੇ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ. So Bebe Nanaki Ji paid for that rabab, okay? And so at that point women's status had started to improve anyway. And the example we get is from Bebe Nanaki Ji's life. And Bhai Jairam Ji, who is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's brother-in-law and Bebe Nanaki Ji's husband. And he has a dialogue with Bebe Nanaki Ji. And he says that Bebe Nanaki, tu dhanya, you are blessed. He's saying to his wife that you are blessed. Tu dhanya. Now blessed probably doesn't really do justice to the word dhan, right? So dhan is something, you know, beyond words, like you know, so great, you're dhan, right? He's saying to his wife, you're really great. And he says that you're really great because your brother is the savior of this world. Your brother is Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Tu dhanya. And then he says to her, Bebe Nanaki, tu dhanya, te tere karke main bhi dhan ho gaya. He's saying to his wife, because of you, mada mota dhan main bhi ho gaya, because I am your husband. So where the vadai was reserved for the male, now Bhai Jairam Ji is giving that vadai to his wife. So that's something that you could see that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's message sort of working, right? It changed people's minds. Why did Bhai Jairam Ji say that? Because of Bebe Nanaki Ji's devotion, Bebe Nanaki Ji's bhakti. ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਧੰਨ ਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਧੰਨ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. Right? Those are like big things. In those days, for a male, for a husband to say that to a wife is like a big thing. And then the reason for that is obviously Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And then obviously Guru Nanak Dev Ji gets married and Mata Sulakshmi Ji. So the next task that Guru Nanak Dev Ji chooses is making women become independent. They were just bound to the house. If you are going to go out, you are to make sure you're accompanied by a male at least, and you can go and buy things, and then you can for the house, and you can do all those things. But the rest that you rely on the male to do. So when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj gets married, and then he's obviously had 2 children now, so he's about to go on an udasi. Now this udasi is going to take a long time, right? He's going to be going off for years. Now, can you imagine the conversation that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj must have had with his wife? Yeah? Saying that, you know, I'm going to be going away. And Mataji's like, for how long for? Maybe like 5-6 years. Right? Can you imagine a husband having that conversation with the wife? Right? I'm going to be going off, all right? So she'd be like, no, you're not. Right? You're not going anywhere, right? Right? But you can imagine that conversation that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj must have had with Mata Sulakhani Ji. And if you just take that conversation as a conversation between just a husband and a wife, just take it as that. And you can imagine, right, how Mata Sulakhani Ji would have felt at that point. Your husband is saying that he's going to go away now. And he's going to go away for a few years. Right? And you have 2 small children. And then you have this Sangat that comes. Then you have these people that absolutely love and adore Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. What's going to happen to them? Right? What's going to happen to the household? How are we going to provide? You know, how are you going to provide for the family? Or you're not going to be there when the children are growing up. I can't do that on my own. I need a husband there as well. You can imagine that conversation that you know that would take place between a wife and a husband. But Mata Sulakhani Ji, right? Again, an amazing soul, Bhakti wali soul, because to become Guru Sahib Ji's wife, you have to have those good karmas, right? Now, she turns around and says to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, ਵੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ that you know whatever you do only you know, but I only know that I am a wife and I have children, and how am I going to provide for them, what's going to happen, but I know that whatever you have decided to do, okay, you must have thought about it, you know what you're doing, so ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋ. Right? For her to actually turn around and say that. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj says that you are going to be in charge now. Right? You're going to be in charge. You're going to be in charge of the house. Don't worry about who's going to provide. Akal Purkh, Vaheguru will provide for everything. Don't worry about that. But you're going to be in charge. Right? Now you're going to be running the household. Okay? So Maharaj gave that independence to that woman first, to say that you are capable. But before, if you know, a woman's husband has passed away, then she would just go into this, you know, mode of depression. That, you know, what's going to become of me? What's going to happen to me? Right? My husband's not there to kind of look after. But you know, Maharaj made Mata Sulakhani Ji so strong that Mata Sulakhani Ji accepted that Guru Sahib Ji's and he became, you know, independent. So women started to become independent. Now Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj started from home. Sab to pehla. Dusri gal, that Mata Ji also became a pracharak. Now all that sangat, jadi Sultanpur sigi, all that first, ਜਦੋਂ Maharaj, before Maharaj left for Udasi. Now you can imagine all those people, how they're absolutely in love with Maharaj, but now they've heard that Maharaj is going to go. So all those people, who's going to look after them, right? Sangat still going to carry on, but who's going to then keep the sangat? And this is where Mata Sulakhani Ji comes in. Now Mata Sulakhani Ji would then take care of that sangat like her own children. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ Mata Sulakhani Ji ਉਸ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਤਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸੰਭਾਲਿਆ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਰਾਗ ਚ ਸੀ ਆਫਟਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਲੈਫਟ, ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੀ ਬਿਕੇਮ ਅ ਮਦਰ ਟੂ ਆਲ. ਫਿਰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਂਗ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਸੀਗੀ, ਐਂਡ Maharaj kept those people in sangat together, and it's a very difficult task to achieve, but Mataji did. Yeah, it's a big task that was trusted to Mata Sulakhani Ji. ਤੇ ਚੌਥੀ ਗੱਲ, ਮਮਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਗਣਾ. Now, ਮਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਮਤਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਨਾ, it's like very strong, that attachment that mother has to her children. ਉਸ ਮਮਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਤਿਆਗਿਆ. Now, ਮਾਤਾ ji's sons, as they were growing up, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਤੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਚੰਦ ਜੀ ਵੀ recluse, right? So, but ਮਾਤਾ ji accepts that bana. Right, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ she is there supporting Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj in what he's doing, and as a wife, as I said, she's supporting her husband in what her husband is doing, provided what the husband is doing is a good thing, right? And it works both ways. That if a husband is trying to do something good, a woman, his wife should support him. And if your wife's going to be supporting you, then you're going to make sure what you're going to be doing is going to be beneficial to all, right? To your life and to everybody else's. So Mata ji ne mamta vi tyagi, right? So again, that sort of initial role of a woman, she still cared for her children, but then mamta tyag ke, right? She had that mamta tyagi. And then obviously, I remember just reading something, somebody just took that and to kind of attack, sort of Sikhi and sort of, how Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, did prachar, and they said, oh, what kind of a, Guru abandons his wife, right? The wife has needs, right? And then they, give other stupid examples of that. And I looked at that and I just kind of like, smiled and I laughed. I was like, those people are still stuck there. They're still, people are still stuck in those basic sort of animalistic kind of, needs of a person, and that's all they think about. They don't think about that, in this actual sareer, there is an atma that is important, right? There's a soul inside, that's what's important. Now, Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't neglect any needs, right, of a wife, but their character was so high that when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj left, Mata Ji ne aap ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੋਰਿਆ, right? Mata Ji ne ਤੋਰਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਓ, right? She was beyond those kind of like, needs and wants, right? And as a woman, okay, what society had reduced a woman to, and even now is, seen as a means to pleasure or, other things, Maharaj then, elevated that sort of rishta as well. So, Mata Ji ne Guru Sahib ji ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੋਰਿਆ, right? Now, the biggest thing that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj did, okay, when it comes to elevating women's status, is to destroy that ahankar, destroy that ego of a man to say that you're a mard, you're a man, and then she's a woman. I'm a man, I'm a mard. ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਬਈ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਦੱਸਦਾ, ਆਵੋ ਭੈਣੇ ਗੱਲ ਮਿਲ ਹੈ ਅੰਕ ਸਹੇਲੜੀਆ, ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਕਰੇ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ, ਸਮਰੱਥ ਕੰਤ ਕੀਆ, ਸਾਚੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਭ ਗੁਣ ਔਗੁਣ ਸਭ ਅਸਾ. That Maharaj is saying that we are all female. That's the biggest thing in Maharaj, to destroy that Homen ego, right? Where people, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਰਦ ਸੀਗੇ men were like, we are men, right? But Maharaj said, we're all women, we're all female. ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਮਰਦ ਆ, that's ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ. So straight away, Maharaj takes us out of this body, this outward body, this outward sri, this identity that we have given each other, right? Although it's important when it comes to this, when we are on this world, on this earth, when we're performing our roles, yes. But Maharaj, straight away, to get rid of, Maharaj saying, but don't do ahankar of that role. Yeah, you've been given that role of a mard, of a man, but don't do ahankar of it, right? Don't have ego because of that. Because in reality, we're all female. There's only one mard. Ikkoi mard ya, that's Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Ikkoi kant ya, husband, and we're all his wives. There's only one male, and that's Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Now that's like a biggest sat to any kind of, a person who has that, homme of me, so that's the other gift that Maharaj gave, is that for us to kind of realize, that kind of look beyond. And then to the male and female, Maharaj said, look, you have got this role, but don't do ahankar of it, because we're all female. Assi sare aurataan hain, right? So Maharaj then propagated that, thinking, lokan de vich, right? So when you start thinking beyond this shareer, then fir gal bandi hai, then you start to get somewhere, right? And this was the same thing when you got to look beyond this physical shareer and needs and wants of this physical shareer. When people say, oh, Guru Nanak Dev Ji neglected his, his wife's needs and all of that kind of thing. Okay. Now, there is a, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk about the Saki of Noor Shah. Now, Noor Shah, she was, you can call her a witch, right? She was a witch, and Jaga Sigi, O Siga Triya Raj, Triya the Pabi Istriya, so women, right? So basically, they ruled, these witches, they ruled this, this sort of land. And on Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's travels, he goes there, and Bhai Mardana Ji says to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, ithon kiton pani mil jauga, is there any water I could get from somewhere around here? And Maharaj said, don't go for water here. He said, this is not a nice place. There's like, this place, has balawa, like witches and don't. But he says, Maharaj, mainu pyas bahut lagi, I need to just, let me just go and find something. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that, just go, chale aaja. And then as Mardana Ji goes deeper into this place, and he finds that these women are there, and there's a well, it's a kuara, and then these women, they getting the pani out of the well, and then he goes to that well, and there's a woman there, and he says that I'm thirsty, could you, give me some water to drink? And she, respects him. She goes, oh, you're a traveler, you're tired, and you just come and sit down first, and I'll bring the water to you. So as Bhai Mardana Ji goes and sits down, and then what she does, because she's a witch, she's prepared a taga, like a thread, and what she does, she then puts this thread around Bhai Mardana Ji's neck, and then when she does that, Bhai Mardana Ji then turns into a sheep, peddu hunda, turns into a peddu, right? Now, sometimes, people find it difficult to kind of digest that, that could happen. But according to the Pratanam Janam Sakhiyan, that's exactly what happened. It was sometimes it's believed that those witches actually twisted Bhai Mardana Ji's mind into thinking that he's a peddu, right? But in actual fact, physically he didn't turn. But if you look at the Puratan Janam Sakhiyan, that it actually says that physically he turned into a peddu, right? So, but now he's turned into a peddu, and he's then asking Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj to come and save him. That dhyan Guru Nanak Dev Ji wal chala gaya. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji is with Bhai Balaji, and Maharaj says to Bhai Balaji, "Bhai, aao chaliye, Mardane nu lod hai, Mardana needs us, let's go." So Balaji, Bhai Balaji and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj then go to save Bhai Mardana Ji. And as they go, those women that are there, they see Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Bhai Balaji, and they come towards them. They first come towards Bhai Balaji to put the same thing around Bhai Balaji's neck. And then at the same time, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj does is, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Akal Purkh Vaheguru, his Shakti, he turns the first woman into a pig. And then the second woman comes and he turns her into a dog, like a kutti you know kende ya. She turns into that. Now this is according to the Janam Sakhiyan, that's what happened. They actually physically turned. And then there was a third one, Tisri Janani, and she had a kada on top of her head that was full of pani, and as she's holding it, she's trying to put that kada down so she could go and help her friends, but her kada gets stuck to her head. Oh kada jud janda hai. And then when their Jadi Noor Shah hundi ya, she's like the main witch, right? And when she finds out, she comes ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ, and she says, well, she sees Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, and she tries her powers to turn her friends back into a human form, and she tries to get the kada unstuck, but she's unable to do so. And then when she's done everything, jo bhi kuch oda jor sara lag janda hai, and then she realizes that I'm not going to be able to mess with this person. And then us vele fir Guru Nanak Dev Ji de charni pendi hai. And then she falls at Guru Nanak Dev Ji's feet and she asks for forgiveness, and then she asks for upadesh. Now Maharaj, that you the only person that been able to stop our magic is you, right? And you Akal Purkh Vaheguru, no one else could do that. Upadesh, and sort of liberate us as well. And at that point Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj ne do baniyan us vele ucharan kitiyan, ek kuchajji te ek suchajji. Now Maharaj gave them those upadesh, right? How a woman's character should be. Now this applies physically to say, if a woman wants an upadesh from Guru Nanak Dev Ji, as a woman what she should be doing, but also it is a spiritual, for a spiritual female, which is all of us, the soul. This message is for all of us, so physically as well. So Gurbani works both in Nirgun and Sargun. You got physical and your spiritual upadesh as well. And those baniya that you can sort of search yourself, Kuchajji and Suji. First Maharaj starts with Kuchajji, and there's a few things to take from there. That a Kuchajji bride, Guru Sahib Ji talks about a bride is ill-mannered, lacking in good virtues, living in duality, dubda, and without vairag and gyan. Right? Now vairag obviously is that longing when you have that, when you realize that separation that you have from Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that's what induces the vairag. Right? And without that vairag, right, a true sort of love can't sort of happen. You can't really truly fall in love. There has to be that vairag inside. Is that that's realization of being separate from Vaheguru, and gyan is the knowledge. Without dharma, without truth and contentment and compassion, right, attached to materials like gold, silver, diamonds, and sort of in the long sleep of attachment of moh, right? So this, to become a successful wife, right, and also at the same time for us to become successful brides of Akal Purkh, right? So there's both of those messages in there, right? If I need to go back, I will go back on this, because there's something that I've been asked to mention, which we will. And then Guru Sahib Ji talks about from Kuchajji to Suchajji, and then how you then turn, you become Suchajji, meaning you become noble and graceful, the knowledge of Brahm and understanding, right? Like people talk about understanding as well within a marriage as well, but Guru Sahib Ji talks about the knowledge of Brahm and accepting the will of Vaheguru, accepting that will, that pana, right? And unquestionable faith. There has to be that unquestionable faith in any relationship for it to work. If there is any doubt anywhere, then it's not going to happen, right? And then total surrender and waiting in hukum. Now, if you read the translation of those baniyan, this is what the translation is. For Maharaj ne ਉਹ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਦਿੱਤਾ, right? ਔਰਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ to ਨੂਰ ਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੂੰ, and then ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਬਣਾਇਆ, right? So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, right, then talks about Shakti. Now, this is in the beginning of Charitropakhyan. Jede Dasam Pasha Mardi Jedi Bani and Charitropakhyan. A lot of people, they, out of agyanata, not knowing, they question Guru Sahib Ji's Bani and they question why is Maharaj writing about women, right? In such that way that, they're deceiving, they do this, they do that. First of all, that those charitras also, include men's charitras as well, right? How men deceive as well at the same time. But in the beginning of that, those charitras, Charitropakhyan, Guru Sahib Ji talks about women as Shakti, as power. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention that was because even like today, that power, that Shakti is being misused, and women do that themselves. Men exploit it, and men exploit that Shakti, that power as well, right? Now, if you look at many, given a small example of many advertising campaigns, right, you'll see many of them will have women in like skimpy clothing or like, kind of in that sexual manner, and try to kind of, get you to buy something, to part you, from your money, right, to attract you, right, that they man, more learnedly, so that, you look, right. And then the thing is, these people who are in marketing and advertising, they're not just doing that, they know it works. Because there's men out there going, right. So they're like kind of drooling, and they're like, kind of fall in that trap. Not everyone, what I'm saying is, there's a reason why that happens. It's not like just random. They've done, enough studies to know that this can be exploited. Men, those desires can be exploited. And we can use this power, this Shakti of a woman to do that. And the women themselves are doing it, right? So what they're doing it for money as well, right? Or we paise li kardiyan, right? So this is I was on about in the beginning. It's about realizing your role, a role of a woman as well. Now, there's men exploiting that, and then women exploiting that as well. Dove kam kari jande. And this is what Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj mentioned in the Charitropakhyan, is to look at that so that not only, say if a woman is doing something wrong, right, and she could make her life better, and she could change herself, right? Now, is that mentioning that, is that just beneficial for a man, or is that also beneficial for a woman? Who is that more beneficial for? Anybody? So, Jidan Charitropakhyan, we talk about Maharaj's Bani. Guru Sahib Ji takes those stories from life where women indulge on those in those things where they're deceiving and they're becoming corrupt. If Maharaj highlights that, now who is the lesson in it for? Who is it for? Is it just for the man, or is it for a woman? Yeah, it's a woman to realize. And if we read all of Charitropakhyan, but from the beginning, people pick and choose few things. But if you read from the beginning, Maharaj talks about women like, is that Shakti? First of all, reminds women that you are that Shakti. And when you are that Shakti, that power, you have to then know how to use it. Don't get misused. Jehdi Shakti a, oh mare kam lai na varti jave. Maharaj reminds that. And this is the beginning. Maharaj says, Ek Oankar Vaheguru Ji ki fatah hai, Sri Bhagauti e nam, Ath Pakhyan Charitra Likhyate Patsai Dasmi, Pujang Chand Tvaya Prasad, Tuhi Khadg Tara, Tuhi Badwari, Tuhi Tir Tarwar Kati Katari, Halabbi Janabbi Margbi Tuhi hai, Niharo Jaha Aap Thadi Wahi hai. That you are the broad sword with decapitating edge, you are the arrow, the dagger, and the sword from the regions of Halab, south and west. I can envision you to the limits of my perception. Now, obviously, this talks about Akal Purkh Vaheguru Shakti. But because Maharaj is mentioning the Charitras, jade Triya Charitra ne, Guru Sahib Ji then talks about that Shakti that is present in women. Jadi oh Shakti aurataan de vich hegi, right? If women want, they can change society. I'll give you an example, right? If all those women who wear those skimpy clothing and they go and advertise and all those things, if they said that we are not going to be exploited like that, you're not going to do that, right? They have that power to do so. There's nobody pointing a gun at their head. They're doing it for money. Let's face it, right? Now, some of these you may think, oh, they don't have. Some of these are from these countries, well-civilized countries that have enough money. They don't have to go into that. They could go into plenty of other things to make money, right? We'll start from our own panth, right? I remember going into Gurdwara Sahib to register my brother's name for his, ਉਹਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ, so to find him a suitable match, right? And I was me, my brother, he was obviously he used to cut his hair, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਲ ਕੱਟੇ ਸੀਗੇ, and obviously it was myself, my brother and my mum, my mother, we went to the Gurdwara Sahib to register my brother's name for a suitable match for him. So we go in, and then the first thing the guy says to us before he puts the name down, he looks at me and he says he thinks that it's for me, not for my brother, right? I don't know, maybe I looked like I wanted to get married. Maybe I looked desperate enough, I don't know. But he said, the first thing he said, he said, look, I'll be honest, he goes, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, we're not going to be able to find any match for your son. Like, they're all asking for clean shaven, and this is like Sikhan ਦੀਆਂ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ, this is like from Sikh households, right? And I was like, so they want men who ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਾਲ ਕੱਟਦੇ ਆ, shave ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, right? That's what the demand is from the Sikh girls. It's coming, and this is what the guy is telling me. And I'm like, if you turn that around, okay, right, and if the ichha was, the want was, they want dastar wala, they want kesatari, they want a guru da Sikh, and then you'll see how, within our own panth things will start to change when, women, they realize their worth, what their worth is, that what Maharaj has given them, right? And things can change around. So with that other discipline, what comes? Jitte hun tusi, if there is a Gursikh, right, then you know that your husband is not going to be drinking, right? Your husband is, not going to be smoking. Your husband, right, is going to be, although there's instances where that happens, but they're going to be more faithful than if you marry somebody who's not a Gursikh, right? I'm not saying that doesn't happen within Gursikh, it does, unfortunately, but you're less likely to. But you're willing to risk all of that and take all of that because why? Because the outward again, right? Not the inward, the outward again. How do you look? So if women, want, Maharaj talks about that Shakti, if they realize that power, that Shakti, then things can change around pretty quick, right? So, but the other side of it, right? So I'm just going to mention that, obviously, because as men, like I said before, what is your role, right? Your role is to try and imitate that Pati Parmesar, that perfection that is Akal Purkh Vaheguru, nothing less. That's what is being asked of you, right? If Maharaj has given that role of as Pati Parmesar to you, as husband Lord to you, then you are to then imitate that role to perfection, right? ते रब बनना सौखा आ? सौखा नहीं गा. It's not easy to reach that perfection, but you can do that through Guru Sahib Ji's Sikhi. You can come very close. And not only that, फिर जदों महाराज दी पूरी कृपा हो जाती है, then हर हर जन दुई एक है, then you become that, right? So there's those two roles in there. Women have to realize their power, their shakti, what there is, and then role within this society, and the men's role as well. Men thinking that, oh, it's brilliant, sort of, we don't have to do that, and if I get married, if I don't like it, I'll move on to the next one and move on to the next one. But remember what Maharaj is actually saying your role is to reach that perfection, right? But unfortunately, within our Panth, like I said, there are marriages that are breaking down, and there's sort of domestic violence, there's domestic abuse, there's a lot of sort of drug and alcohol abuse, right? And that's what's sort of happening within our society, right? And it is quite rampant, right? It is quite rampant. And like I said, even like in some of the, although it's not a lot or as much, but in some of the Gursikh households as well, you see that, people kind of falling into that trap. Why? Because you're moving away from your role of a husband. You're moving away from it. And the way you realize that is through living Guru Sahib Ji's Sikhi. How perfect that Maharaj has made you, but we choose a different path. And because of that, we're having issues in our society, we're having issues within relationships, we're having issues within marriages, right? Because men have forgotten their role, and so has women. दोवां ने अपना role भूल गया. And what it has become now is just become a competition with each other, trying to outdo each other, right? Trying to reach that society's version of equality that you're trying to get, without actually realizing that that is actually causing more issues than actually resolving issues. Who's going to resolve issues? Maharaj is going to resolve those issues. For us to read that Bani of Kuchaji, read that Bani of Kuchaji, and then apply it to yourself. This is for men and women, right? To apply it to yourself, be asi kite khade hain, and then read Suchaji, asi Suchaji kidan banna hai, right? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, his contribution to women status and to women is huge, and it still it carries on. And unfortunately, the reason why our Panth is sometimes in a situation where it is because we have moved away from it. We moved away from being a Suchaji. We just stuck in that Kuchaji, right? So I'm going to stop there. If anyone's got any questions, they can fire away. But for those who just want to say, those of you who's not married here, okay, just want to say, don't do it, right? Don't move away. No, it is important that before we get into a relationship, that we read, or we sort of read Maharaj's Upadesh for what is the Upadesh for a husband, and for also for a wife as well. But sada bhi bada zaruri hai. Sometimes we get into this macho mode, right? And similarly, like I said, for women as well, we need to kind of break out of what society, where society is trying to place us, where society is saying this is where your place is. Guru Sahib knows where our place is, right? And if we, like I said, you look at Guru Maharaj's own life, you look at Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, he did bhakti for 26 years, and his wife Mata Gujari Ji served him for those years whilst Guru Sahib did bhakti and did prachar. The role, look at that. Ek paase Guru Sahib Ji ne right? परमेश्वर दा रूप, husband Lord, right? एक पासे गुरु साहिब जी दी, गुरु साहिब दे महल, माता गुजर कौर जी, and how she ਜਿਹੜੀ सेवा उन्होंने की, right? Now जे माता गुजर कौर जी कहते बई ये तो कोई काम ही नहीं करते, ये भगती करी जाते आ, हुण किन्ने साल हो गए, 2 साल हो गए, 3 साल हो गए, 10 साल 15 हो गए, हुण ते छड्ड दिओ, नहीं, मगर इट्स लाइक अबाउट दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो जे आप देखिए जी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है ना, बाहर ने कहा नोबल ग्रेस नॉलेज ऑफ ब्रह्म अंडरस्टैंडिंग एक्सेप्टिंग द विल ऑफ वाहिगुरु अनक्वेश्चनेबल फेथ within each other, and that only comes if there is that Sikhi aspect, that bhakti aspect is there. If that bhakti aspect is not there, then you could be Amritari Gursikh, but then you still can fall prey to those vices. You can still end up, that bhakti aspect has to be there, right? Realizing that role. Okay, so I'm going to finish there. If I've said anything to offend anyone, then I don't care. I don't know, take it up with the organisers. Hanji.
Why do men and women sit on opposite sides when you go to Gurdwara?
When do men that's more like in the West kind of, but if you go to down Punjab, I remember when I was growing up in Punjab, when we go to the Gurdwara, we'd sit there as a family. So we'd sit there, with our, mother, father, and बच्चे भी इकट्ठे ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. So it's because it's more kind of segregation, whereas we see that more in the West. The way the Guru Ghar is as well. So you walk in and Maharaj is there like at the end, and there's like a split there already, right? The carpet that you're walking down. But if you look at Harmandir Sahib now, obviously, there is, because confined space, they've done that for kind of, I don't know, because there's all sorts of people that go there, huh? So because that confined space, you have men sitting on one side and women sitting on, and sometimes I wish that it was the other way around, to be honest, because I want to be there and facing the kirtan as the kirtan's going on, right? But I think it's more like I've seen that more in the West than I have seen in India. But there's no actual kind of maryada in place that says that men and women should sit separate. There's nothing like that. Hanji.
I was going to ask if you were going to, I was waiting to see if you tied in the idea of Pavangiri Pani Pita Mata, like the idea of mother woman as Mother Earth or that sort of thing.
Hanji.
Any comments?
I think I did that lecture last year, so you'll have to watch that video. No, it's true. Again, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਤਾ ਆ, ਮਾਤਾ ਧਰਤ ਮਹੱਤ. ਹੁਣ the example is ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਤਾ ਆ, like how we use this earth, right? We eat things from it, we survive from it, just like a child is dependent on her mother for milk and provides the baby with sustenance and food, and we're very much dependent. And also everything just grows out of the womb of this earth, basically. Similarly, this earth gives birth to many things, and everything, the whole life basically, itthon mitti ch paida hundi, we say, and dusri jidda maa hundi a, and maa takes kind of, when a child is younger, when a child is very small, and a baby, sometimes the baby will throw up on the mother, sometimes the baby will kind of poop on the mother, right? And all sorts of things, right? Magar maa jehdi a ਉਹ ਕਦੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਸਾਂਭਦੀ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ, ਹਨਾ, ਸਫਾਇਆ ਕਰਦੀ. Just like that, we take things from this Mother Earth, but what we actually doing to it, right, in return, right? And obviously, but if you then kind of carry on with that analogy, and sometimes a child grows up and it becomes abusive, and it becomes that relationship, he kind of abuses that relationship with a mother, and he takes liberties, right? Or maan ne te kuch kehna nahi, bakshi dena, right? And we are doing the same thing to this to this Mother Earth as well. Without, it's all about our own greed and, what we want and take, and we actually destroying our mother. ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਾਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, like, we have so many climate, issues that's going on, and, so much is going as a result of what we're doing to Mother Earth. ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਮਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਆ, ਮਗਰ ਮਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, and then to respect this earth as your own ਮਾਤਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸਮਾਨ, like ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. So then you have once you have that, then you start thinking about my duty as a son to my mother, which is Mother Earth.
Would you? So my thoughts or reflections on that, though, is the idea that mother is sort of the most permanent sort of foundation of connection. It's like immobile in the sense that pani or water has movement, and this idea of udasi, like just the movement, or I don't want to say detachment, but certainly a cycle, or and the most ethereal, though, is the idea of air, the invisible, like that, and respiration, but just those qualities of like an immovable sort of that's the connection, right?
She's there, like literally like a rock, she's our rock. ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ, like, this, it is true, and it's there, always there, and it's like a huge thing, like, women are those many things, and Maharaj reminded us of all of that, in that first shabad that we read, bhai, ਮਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਮਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜੰਮਦੇ ਆ, and so kind of like trying to remind us of that connection.
And the other comment would be, though, then there's positionality of, like, does permanence or impermanence make it less, like in the sense that if there were 10, right, fathers, gurus, like in this idea, like, and only one, like there's something to be said about that, right? There is only one Earth. There isn't that planet B yet. In that sense, so there's elements
that we know of,
thinking, right? Like Carl Sagan.
ਮਾਤਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲਾਡ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਗਿਆੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਲਿਆ ਰਹੇ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਬਾਪੂ ਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਡੰਡਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ.
That's true. I've seen the opposite as well sometimes, ਮਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਡੰਡਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਚੜੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਵੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ. But you're right, ਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਾਡ 'ਚ ਵਿਗੜ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ. So like that shabad, I was thinking about that shabad, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਦਣ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਵਿਸਰਿਆ ਜਿਨ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਭੋਏ ਭਾਰਥੀਏ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤਿੰਨ ਧਨ, ਨਹੀਂ, no that one, the other one, ਜਿਨ ਹਰ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਬਸਿਓ, ਮਾਤ ਕੀਜੇ ਹਰ ਬਾਂਝਾ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਵੀ that shabad ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ. And I was like thinking about that shabad, is Maharaj telling a woman off in that one, that the offspring that doesn't remember Vaheguru, doesn't do Simrana, their mother might as well been sterile, right? So I was thinking, is that Maharaj telling a woman off, or what's going on there, right? It could be that it's a mother's role to make sure ਵੀ ਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਉਣਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਾਉਣਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖਣੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਧੋਣੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਕੰਘਾ ਕਰਨਾ, ਦਸਤਾਰ ਸਜਾਉਣੀ, on all those roles that women sometimes, they get their children's hair cut because they can't be bothered to do all of that. ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੂੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ, So in that instance, it does apply to that woman, right? However, in the end, you look at that is also not just the other side would be the mother is doing all them things, but it's the child, right, that is at fault. So what do you do then? But then that still applies, and you say, actually, then Maharaj is not telling the woman off. It's actually, say if you talking to someone and they are kind of like really sort of like a lowly person, and he's saying to them, say, look, it would have been better if you weren't born. She's directing it at them, right? So if you think about it, it has both in it. एक मां नूं भी उपदेश आ ते एक बच्चे नूं भी उपदेश आ. You know, there's both in it, right? So not just one. So ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਮਾੜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੋੜਦੀ, ਉਹਦਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਬਣਦਾ ਹੈ ਆਪ ਜੁੜੇ ਤੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜੋੜੇ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਢੁਕਦੀ ਆ. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਸੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਸੋ we'll see you whenever I see you next. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.